Hey guys, my name is Nandie and I was born in South Africa. Just a simple girl from a small town, grew up on a farm, and I moved to the United States when I was 14 years old. And from there on, my life drastically changed because for the first time in my life, I got to see a whole different side of humanity and a whole different side of non-suffering. And the thing that affected me most was going to high school and becoming part of, American society, kind of just adapting to everything, adapting to culture. And for the first time in my life, I got involved in charity because my high school was very centered around service, community service, like Christmas baskets, collecting Christmas baskets for families who didn't have money to give a good Christmas to their kids. Amnesty International was in our school, St. Vincent de Paul. So for the first time in my life, I was just surrounded by service as part of my education. And it was incredible, and it just rubbed off on me, and I used that and coupled it with my experience of having personally been lived in Africa and seen the horrible conditions people live in every day. And I decided to go the path of giving and just putting myself in a position where I would use whatever was already inside of me, my talents, to help others. And I watched the documentary. What happened was, in my senior year, I watched a documentary, because I watch a lot of documentaries, called Invisible Children. And I was very, very moved by this documentary. And I remember going to bed crying that night and saying to myself, I need to come up with an idea. I am someone who's fortunate enough to be in America at this point in my life, and I am circled by people who mostly have their basic needs met and are in the position to help. And the possibilities were just endless. And the next morning I woke up, and the first thing that was on my mind were shirts. And so I went to my school the next day. I was sitting in my history class, really bored, and started drawing up a design for my shirt. And then next thing I knew, I was in the Amnesty International office begging for money for funding me to print my shirts. And since they were a little broke, they only could give me $250, and then I went to another organization which spotted me, and before I knew it, I was able to order 100 shirts. And for the next 2 weeks it took to print the shirts, I was busy making all the students in my school aware through announcements, just raising basic awareness through speeches and showing the movie in my school, the documentary called Invisible Children. And when the shirts came 2 weeks later, I remember it was a Tuesday and I was supposed to start selling the shirts that following Monday. And the shirts sold out the first day. And this was completely unexpected. I went that afternoon to go see what the shirts looked like, and my teacher told me there are 5 shirts remaining. And I knew then that this was gonna be great. And so I started a second ordering, and before I knew it, I surpassed my goal of $4,500 and just creating this incredible atmosphere in my school of hope, and one person being able to collectively, along with other people, do something amazing. And so, as I say, in life, you do things from the heart, and you do good in the world, and it will come back to you. And that good that comes back to you will then multiply again and help others around you. And this is exactly what happened in my life. And I did something from the heart. I just went on a limb and I did it. I put in my efforts. And before I knew it, I got a phone call while I was visiting South Africa that summer. And I had won the National Philanthropist, the Young Philanthropist of the Year of 2007 award. And it was just the most incredible thing at that point in my life that had ever happened to me, because it was such a huge, huge honor to receive an award for not something you won, but to be acknowledged for something great you did. And so that November I got my award. I had my speech at the speech ceremony, and it was just an incredibly moving event because it was thousands of people sitting there looking up at me for my efforts, and it was just incredibly humbling. And then following that, once again, something else came into my life. I was recruited to be a panelist, one of the panelists, to work with the Dalai Lama, which at that point just seemed so incredibly unreal because I had grown up reading books about the Dalai Lama and just completely looking up towards the Dalai Lama. And here I was recruited to be a panelist to be in a dialogue of compassion and action with the Dalai Lama, and it was just absolutely incredible. And I just recently got done actually with the panel, and it was just being in the Dalai Lama's presence and being in the presence of people who do great things in this world, once again incredibly humbling. And now once again on one of my speeches, the next incredible thing has come into my life, which is Project Happiness. And as I say, it keeps coming, it keeps coming. If you open your heart, if you open your thoughts, and you truly believe that not even the sky is the limit, the sky won't be the limit, and you will receive great things in your life, and you will do great things for others in their lives. And it's just like one big snowball of just compassion and happiness, and it just keeps rolling and gathering more, and before you know it, it's unbelievably big, and it feels great. And I just want to say I am really excited to start being part of Project Happiness. It is something that I have an incredibly good feeling about, and is going to be sweeping across the world and touching a lot of young people's lives in ways we can't even imagine at this point.